So hi engineering Janta, I am Vaibhav Shukla and today I welcome you all to the day 3 of Python for Placements. And before I begin, go ahead, tell me in the chat section. I can see the chat section here. So you can tell me in the chat section whether I am visible and whether I am audible to you. फटाफट बताओ. If I'm visible and audible, you can just type a yes and then we'll begin with our session. Fine. So good evening Bhimesh. Good evening. फटाफट बता दो यार, उसके बाद आगे बढ़ते हैं. ठीक है. Okay, so I'm audible. Great, great. Hi, good evening Vibhuti. Hi. चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. So without wasting any time, first of all, topics to cover today. I'll write them here. So first thing was homework that I had given you. Fine, which was factorial of a number. Fine. So how many of you have done this homework? फैक्टोरियल कितने लोगों ने लिखा प्रोग्राम जाके? फटाफट बताओ. नहीं भी लिखा तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, मैं बता दूंगा, लेकिन एक बार रियलिटी जरा चेक हो जाए. प्लीज टेल मी once in the live chat section. Functions today we'll cover. Okay, Sneha wrote it. Great Sneha, great. And I'll also tell you one thing. Look, when you're writing the program for factorial, there are two approaches. One is recursive approach, where you can use recursion, which we will not do. We will use the iterative approach using loops and everything. You can deploy that recursive approach when you're trying and covering DSA. Fine. So we'll read about functions, we'll read about lists, we'll read about tuples. Fine. So basically this would be the coursework for today. So Sonali has also done. Sneha has retracted her message. I couldn't read your message Sneha, so you can send it again if you want to ask it again. Strangely, see, remember मैंने एक बात कही थी, I had told you on the first day itself, that by the time we reach the third day, by the time we have a few more sessions, there would be a significant drop in the percentage of people who are attending. The very simple reason for that is not everybody is ready to take on the challenge. Not everybody is consistent, but those who stay till the last, those who actually practice hard, they will actually flourish more, they will actually learn more. Fine. So without wasting any further time, we'll go ahead. Sabse pehle let's cover the homework. So I'll keep my pen tab aside, I'll take my laptop, pardon my keyboard here. So I'll switch to the tab where I can have my compiler. Perfect. So I hope this compiler is visible to everybody. Yes, so Sneha, what you did was you used a complete code where you used recursion. Good, well done. We'll go ahead and we'll see the iterative approach today. I've also made some notes, handwritten notes for you guys, so that I can give you the definitions as well for your placements. So please put my hard work to a good use, as simple as that. So let's take any random number. I say number is 8. Fine. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead, we'll keep on writing code where we'll use iterative approach for it. Fine. So I'll rather take another variable, which is fact equals to 1. Why am I keeping it 1? We'll understand it in a while. If so, is there any doubt here? Bhimesh, even if Sneha has written that doubt, it is you who has to write your code once again. Fine. So write it with your own references, with your own experience. So why have I written if? It is if number lesser than 0. Now if there is any negative number, we cannot calculate factorial for it, right? So what we will do is we'll go ahead and we'll print why are you giving negative number. Haven't studied maths. Why not to write such things, correct? If somebody is troubling us, we will also trouble them. Fine. So once this if structure is done, you come to else structure, and here you actually use the loop for I in range. Now, what should be the range? What should be the range? Tell me. Hi, good evening, everybody. Hi, Teja. You not, sir. I. Okay. I don't know what exactly you're trying to say, Teja. You can go ahead and tell me. So, what should be the range? फटाफट बताओ in the chat section. I'm waiting. Tell me. Nobody's up for telling the range. Chalo, I'll write it out. So here, what you can do is you can use num plus 1. Fine. So basically, when you're trying and you're figuring out the range, okay, everybody is saying 9. Pratik is saying 9. Correct. But Pratik, it is possible no that you actually do not have a proper static input here. For example, what if I tell you that I'll write it in this way. Wait. Print, and we learn something new today. Print enter your favorite number. Fine. And then I take input into num. Perfect. So I can do this out. Now, if you carefully see, now I have changed one metric. Now I can dynamically assign any number. Any number. If I want factorial of 8, I'll assign it. If I want factorial of 5, I'll assign it. As simple as that. Fine. So we'll use this num later on. Fine. So what else should I do? So this is done. And in this for loop, basically in this range, what you have to do is fact equals to fact star I. So basically I'm multiplying it with the previous output, and then I'll go ahead, I'll write the print. So loop ends there for me. Once you reach to the num plus 1 value, loop ceases to execute. And then factorial of the number is, I'll say fact. Fine. And let's actually try this. So it can throw an error somewhere, I'm expecting, but it might not. So let's check whether we are right or not. So yes, it's throwing an error. It is saying that this num is not defined. So what I'll do is I'll rather do it like this. Let's check whether this works. No, this is not working. So I'm doing some mistake in the input function. So it is not taking that value. For example, generally it takes such values. Generally it is not an issue when reading an EOF. It should actually not give this problem. Integer, yes, I know it's integer, I know that, but the point is generally it is not like that. Int input wala issue nahi hai yaar. Fine, let's check if we can actually typecast it. So it is still throwing that error. No issues, we'll resolve it later on. By that time we have to execute this program first, and then we'll cover this out. So if you see, it is giving me this piece of code where you're entering your favorite number, and then the factorial is actually throwing you the correct output. For example, if I type 5 as the number and then I run, what should I get? 120. Correct? Is everybody clear with this? Is everybody clear with this? फटाफट बताओ in chat section. I can see your chats. 120. Correct, correct, correct. Think of one more approach that you could have done. If I told you that you could have solved it recursively, what would have you done with this fact? Recursively क्या हो सकता था इसका? Tell me. फटाफट बताओ. Recursively, what could have you done? Correct Bhimesh, correct, nice. Chalo, let's try one more thing. Fine, let's try typecasting it. So what I'll do is I'll put it like this. Input, and I'll make it a variable. Fine, so what should I type? Input Bhimesh. Fine. We should honor Bhimesh for his reply of the factorial. Fine, so I'm putting it as input Bhimesh. That works, Bhimesh? Fatapat batao. Fine, and then I'll be like this. Input. Fine. Now once I've done this, what I'll do here is I'll typecast it. Fine. I'll rather put it like this. So input Bhimesh equals to int input. Fine. So let's try this once, and not this input, rather than I would like to put it this way so that I can actually typecast it. So let's try doing this, whether this helps us or not. So, oh, I get it, why it is giving me this error. I have not put anything in input panel. My god. So num is not defined. Fine, I'll put it here. Input underscore Bhimesh. What else should I change? Here also I need to change, no? Input underscore Bhimesh. Fine. So see, I'm getting the factorial. But basically, in this compiler, this is the issue. Fine. I had forgotten this, that I'm putting the input here in this panel. So to everybody who's using the prep insta compiler, this is one thing that you need to be mindful of. Generally, any compiler asks your input, but here we have made it in a manner that you can use it like you use in placements, tests, you use it in actual exams where there are predefined test cases. So we have given the input panel separately here. Fine. So you can put any input here, and then it would actually pick that input here. Fine. So it is now picking up the input correctly, and now 5 should give the answer as 120. So I would rather not print this entire favorite number statement. I'll remove this. See, factorial of the number is 120. Now everybody is aligned with this. सबको समझ में आ रहा है? फटाफट बताओ. There are a few glitches in this particular type of compiler that people initially feel. However, it is not a glitch. It is a kind of practice that you'll be doing for your placement exams. So far, easy. Everybody clear with this? Great. Chalo, let's go ahead. I'll pick up my pen tab again so that I can teach you functions. Fine. Because that would require a lot of effort first. So I guess everything is gone. No issues. No, not everything is gone. So we have few things here and there. Let's go ahead and let's pick up the pen tab again, and let's study functions. Fine. So I'll write it here. Correct. So whatever I'm writing this as a definition, you can either jot it down in your registers, or what you can do is follow me on Instagram. @Shuklaji Speaks is my handle. I'll explain you this recursive code once we have done the functions, because this is a function that you're trying to use. Fine. So once we are done with the functions, you'll understand that better, Teja. Okay. Now to everybody who's watching this, if you want these handwritten notes that I'm writing in the class, you need to follow me on Instagram. There I will send you this PPT, as simple as that. Fine. Guys, I'll explain after we are done with functions. No issues to actually fight in the comment section. Fine. Now, so what is a function? A function. Sir, any update on the Goldman Sachs graduate campus hiring? No, nothing so far. If I get anything, I'll come live and I'll tell you. Is a block of code that is designed to perform a specific task. Very simple language, and this you have to remember and you have to actually tell in the interview. As simple as that. In the interview you have to tell this much. Fine. That Functions, primarily you can tell that it is a block of code that is designed to perform a specific task. Leave the orientation of my text, focus on the words that I have written. This much is a definition of function. And in Python it is declared using the keyword, or rather you can also write that they are defined. Fine, declared or defined using keyword def. Fine. So def is the keyword that you use. Now I've put it in inverted commas just for the sake that you understand that this is a specific keyword. While writing the code, no need to put it in inverted commas or the double quotes, otherwise you'll have it as a comment in your code. Fine. So let's go back where we had started. Let's take the keyboard back and let's start writing it in the compiler. Fine. So here I'm removing this absolutely, and we'll write functions from the very basics. Fine. So def, this is the exact keyword. By far, any doubts? No. So def, this is the exact keyword. As I told you, no need to put it in such double quotes, it would become a comment. Fine. So that I have written just for your understanding. This is a complete keyword def in itself. Now for example, I want to write a print function. Yeah, I should give some other name. Give me some student's name. Teja. Fine. So we have Teja here with us. Why is Teja keyword for us? For example, we write Teja underscore winner. Fine. And this is basically a function. That's how you define a function. You print, you deploy a print function here, and you print actually that Teja is a great student. Fine. And with this I'll actually go and I'll call this function. So this is how you call a function, Teja underscore winner. I'm calling this function now and it would execute. See, Teja is a great student. I need nothing in input panel now. Teja is a great student. As simple as that. Fine. So Teja, are you a great student? Fatavat batao in the chat section. By that time we can move forward. So what is this called? What did I do here? Fine. This is called, what I did here is actually thanks Teja. So here what I actually did was defining a function, and what I did here was calling a function. Fine. Now when you're writing a code, even on the paper, if you write such comments na, it would give you some extra brownie points in your interview. So you must try this out. This would immediately tell your interviewer that you know a lot about programming, even if you don't. Fine. So this is a cool hack that I used to use when I was studying. Fine. So this cool hack worked for me. I hope it works for you as well. Now this is how you actually define functions. I'll now discuss about arguments, or rather I should keep it in capital letters. Arguments and parameters. Fine. Before we write it here, as I told you, I usually prefer writing things on paper first. So here we'll talk about, rather like this, I'll go ahead and I'll talk about arguments. Fine. Arguments and parameters. So this is one and the same thing usually. Fine. These terms are interchangeably used for parameters or for the values that you assign to a function. For example, I'm saying define, and this is a function that I'm using, so I'm naming it func. You can name anything. With this function being defined, what you can actually do, see. So here I'll assign a few values or a few variable names which can actually help you. For example, I say f name, and if I say l name, so basically first name and last name. These are two values that I can get here, and then later on when I'll define this function, so what I can do is I can write it like this: print the full name is, and then you put a semicolon so that with the space you can differentiate. Then you have f name, fine, and then you can give a space, and then you can have l name. This is one way to write. Or what you can do is you can put plus symbols, you can use those plus symbols and then you can write it, fine. We'll do that as well, don't worry. So yes, exactly, you can go ahead and visit Prep Insta Prime as well, where you have 200 plus courses. I'll come to that, I'll show you that as well. I can see those links floating because our team is always ready to help students, so that's what we keep doing. And now let's go back on the code portion and let's start writing it, fine. So yes, here we'll actually pass on the parameters now, fine. So let's say, as I told you, define function f name, l name. These are two parameters that I have, and what I'll do is I'll print it, and I'll use the print function, and I'll say the full name of a student is f name, fine. So there are two ways. What you can do is either you write it the way I told you, or what you can do is you can go ahead, you can write it this way, fine. Fine, you can write it this way. So there are two ways to write this. Let's see whether it's running correctly or not. So, oh, I didn't call this function, so you have to call this function. I'll go ahead and call it out, func, fine, and let's call this function. And now I'll give some first name. So anybody, Atharv Gupta, fine. So let's give this name Atharv. So I'll pass this string Atharv, and then I'll put Gupta here, fine, perfect. I've given first name and last name. What should it deliver me? The full name of a student is Atharv Gupta. Is it clear? It is clearly giving me this. I can also put it like this and test. See, that extra space went off. So I hope this much is clear to everybody. फटाफट बता दो, is everybody enjoying the class today? Is it easy? Are the functions very easy? फटाफट बता दो. By that time I'll go ahead to the next topic. Teja is enjoying a lot. Anybody else? Okay, for Komal it is also okay. For Bhimesh also it is easy. So now what you can do is, if you want to put them in a manner where you have arbitrary arguments, you never know exactly how many arguments you have, fine, in your function. So at that point of time, what you should do. So I'll write it as a heading here. Everything that I am doing, you should go ahead and note it down, fine. So arbitrary arguments, and again in a comment, if number of arguments is unknown, fine. So if you do not know the number of arguments, then what you can do, you define, fine, and you define my func. This is a new function that I'm having, and here you actually put students, fine. When you write it with this particular star symbol, you're actually trying to tell Python that I do not know how many exactly people can be passed, but whenever it is passed to you, what you should do is you should print this message: the kid, or rather the student at merit position is, and randomly I'm putting any kid here, so plus students, and in this I'll give some index, so you can also access it using the index. I'll talk about those as well. We go ahead, we pass on some parameters, fine. So I'll go ahead, I'll pass on those parameters. One person that I can pass on here is Atulya, fine, our founder. Another one can be me. What else? Shambhavi can be our third student. Fine. So with that, I also want to tell you one interesting thing. Come on, I'll put Genial as well. Fine. He's also a very regular student. I honor that regularity. Now, let me tell you one very interesting thing before we go forward. Tomorrow, there might not be a class. There is full possibility that there will be a class tomorrow, but equally, we all of the people who work here at Pripinsta, we are working day and night for something very big. And we are staying extra after the office so that we help you guys. Fine. For that, most probably, we'll have something very, very interesting, very, very cool at the same time in a live. So that can actually transform your journey like this in the placements. So for that, stay tuned because tomorrow it can be much, much bigger than what you are seeing today. Also, we are planning aptitude series also similarly in 7 or 8 days, which can help you out in the placement season. Fine. So let's go ahead and let's run this out. So the student at merit position is Shambhavi. Now if you see, it has printed this particular student. Fine. So the index was 0, 1, 2 and 3. So basically the index, the default index starts from 0. Everybody is clear with this? Is everybody clear with this? Koi bhi doubt ho, you guys can join me on Instagram. You can ask me there. Fine. I'll explain you things. Don't worry. Fatavat batao. Is this much clear to everybody? Now you can also do one thing. Here, in first name and last name. For example, I had another function. I'm a very lazy man, so I'll pick this function up because it has few things which I can use. I'll go ahead, I'll define another function, function 2, and I'll say only first name. Fine. And with this, I'll define a value. Say, what value should I define? Sonali. Perfect. So Sonali is my default value here for this function 2. And what I'll do is I'll print out only this function. Fine. So when I do this and when I call function 2, I'll call it in two manners. First of all, I'll just leave the brackets empty. And the second time what I'll do is I'll put here. What name should I put? Bhimesh. No, Bhimesh we have used. Any different student? Komal. While we'll use Komal here. Fine. So we're using Komal and I'm passing this function. Fine. Let's go ahead. So if you carefully see, the first time when it returned was Sonali, the full name of a student is Sonali, then it returned the full name of a student is Komal. Why is it doing so? Because when I tried doing it second time, I passed it on a parameter or an argument that I wanted. But for the first time, I did not pass anything at all. At that point of time, it used this default argument. So what did we learn here? We learned default argument or default parameter. Fine. So we learned default argument here. Is everybody clear with this? How can I get handwritten notes on Instagram? Yes, Sonali, you have to DM me and I'll send them. Fine. I'll send those notes. I'll also send the printed notes as well because I'm writing a few things here. I'm writing a few things there. So I'll need to prepare everything in a detailed manner. And with different examples, I always prepare the notes so that people get a variety of examples there. Fine. So I'll prepare it in a different manner. Don't worry. All you need to do is DM me. Now, if you're somebody who wants to talk to the team of mentors that I have under me, they directly tell me the things, they directly tell the problems that you guys have. So you can also drop your number, your phone number at my Instagram DM. Fine. And I'll immediately map you up to those mentors and they'll help you out. Fine. Let's go ahead and let's go further. So one more thing you can do here is, if I tweak it a bit, I'll use this declaration only. Fine. I'll go further. I'll write a new function, function 3, and this function 3 takes just one value, say x. Fine. It takes this value x, and then it returns, fine, it returns 5, or rather what, 10 into x. Easy. Fine. It would give me a multiple of 10. So now if you see, and if I say I want the output of this function to be used somewhere, I can do one thing. I'll declare num, I'll use it here, and I'll pass on 6 as the parameter, and then I'll print num. Now if you carefully see, all the above statements would execute, fine. But here in this function 3, what would happen? 6 would be given to this particular function as a parameter, then it would come here, and then it would be multiplied with 10, fine. So what did I just do? Let's go ahead and see it in this tab that I have. So what did I just do? I defined a function 3 where I had some parameter, fine, and here I said that whenever you find this, you have to return me a value which says x into 10, fine. This is what we did, correct? This is what we did now. So in this case, when I'm trying to do this, I am saying you store the value of this function here, fine, in such a manner that, oh, it's not looking cool, I'll write it even better, wait. So you can do like this. Here you put any value, say 6, fine. I hope I've used 6 there, and then I print this value num. So this 6 would actually go here as an argument. It would be used in this particular step where you would have 6 into 10, which is 60, and this 60 would be returned to this particular function. Now 60 comes here, 60 would be assigned to this number, and this would give output equal to 60, fine. Is this clear to everybody? फटाफट बता दो. Is this clear to everybody? Let's check whether we are having 60 as our output. Correct, we are having 60 as our output. Sir, I'm having my placement drive in 1 month. It would be great help if you give me the roadmap of preparation from the beginning in Python, sir. Tapaswini, text me at Instagram. Fine. मेरे Instagram पे DM डाल दो, same message. Copy this out, paste it in my DM. I would personally record an audio and send you. Fine, that would work. Also, I'll make sure you also drop your number at my DM, Tapaswini. I'll connect you to my mentors, find the team of mentors that I have. Now, this much is clear to everybody. Let's go to enough for functions. You've understood enough for the functions. We'll also study about lists here, fine. So I'm writing this out. We'll study about lists, fine. What kind of list I have written? Come on, Vaibhav Shukla. Let's write it well. So yes, this is looking good. Now, I'll talk about how you can actually pass the list as a parameter in tomorrow's class. Today we'll understand about lists, fine. So what is this list? चलो वापस से चलते हैं अपने PPT में and let's understand it here, fine. So keep it aside. I'm giving you the definition for the list so that you can easily use it out. So what is a list? Now to all those people, now you understand what that fact n into n minus 1 was. Teja, now you understand that fact was a function, fine. Inside that a parameter n was being passed, which was the number, and then what you were doing is, let's go ahead first write that program, fine. That would be very easy. I'll just rather give you here only, fine, on the sheet itself before writing anything. See, Teja, see here. What function we actually defined there? Def fact n, fine. Here what was happening was you were returning fact n minus 1 into n, fine. You were returning this. Now what happens is, if you've used this factorial 5, if you've given this number, now this particular function is incomplete. You also have to handle the 0 and 1 cases, fine. You also have to handle that using if else. So we'll assume it, but for right now what you're doing is, if I pass 5 here, so what would happen? 5, if I pass fact of 5, what would happen? See, so it would work like this: fact of 4, and then it would be multiplied with 5, correct? Then this would split. What would happen? This would say fact of 3, and this would say 4, fine. This would again be split, fact of 2, basically factorial of 2 multiplied with 3, fine. Then it would be split again, this would say multiplied with 2 fact of 1. Now just assume that fact of 1 is 1. Fine, just assume for a while. We have to handle this case here itself. We use if and else. Fine, but here just assume this is equal to 1. So what would happen? 1 into 2 is 2. 2 would be returned here. 2 into 3 is 6. 6 would be returned here. 6 into 4 is 24. So you will have 24 here, and 24 into 5 is 120. That's how you actually calculate using recursion. Fine, I'm writing it. You need to handle fact 1 here, so that when you get these notes you do not get confused. Fine, is it clear to everybody? Sneha is saying a beautiful doubt, very good doubt. Sneha, she's saying, how can we know the logic for every problem? Is there any easy method? Let me tell you one thing, Sneha. For any logic building, and for usually most of the things in life, you need to practice a lot. Fine, but to find the easy method for logic building, I'll suggest you one thing. What you can do is, you see the solutions initially. For at least initial 20-25 problems, see the solution. But how to see them? For first 10 problems, do not brainstorm. See the solution directly. For the first 10 problems you do. The next 10 problems when you try employing your brain. Try figuring out how this thing can be done. Out of those 10 problems, at least 2 or 3 you will know how to solve. You will build that logic. If you have seen 10 solutions and then you move forward, you'll build 2 or 3 logics. Fine. Once you're done with the next 10 questions, once you've done with this exercise, move to another 5. Do the same exercise. This time out of those 5, you'll be able to solve 3 questions. Move to another 5. Do the same exercise. This time out of 5, you'll do 4. And then you'll keep on going ahead. And then you have to absolutely stop seeing the solutions. First do your solution, first try your solution, and then look for the solution. Fine. Is it clear, Sneha? Is it clear, Sneha? A beautiful doubt. A beautiful doubt. Good evening, Shashank. If you're late, then you've lost a lot of things in this class. We had a lot of discussions. So I guess there is no further slide in this. Fine. So where should I study the list? So I've told you about this. I'm erasing all ink here and I'm writing about lists here. Fine. So I hope, Teja, you got what exactly I was telling you. Fine. Great, Sneha. Great. Now, what are lists? List is a collection of elements which is ordered. This type of data structure, this is a data structure, fine, is changeable. Fine, it can change. Fine, we'll study what exactly it is called in technical terms. Is these 7 classes helpful? What do you feel, K Narmada? What do you feel? Aren't these classes helping you so far? Tell me. Now here we'll understand about append function. Fine, we'll understand how, first of all we'll understand what are lists, then we'll understand about append function, we'll understand about pop function, we'll understand about indexing, we'll understand about insert. Fine, so that would be pretty much for today's class, I hope. So we have approximately 10 more minutes, I hope, and I'll go ahead and I'll move here. So in these lists, what we are going to do, for example, I create my underscore list. So this is a list that you've created and you actually declare it with these 2 square brackets. Fine. Now with these 2 square brackets, what I'll do is I'll add some random numbers, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have these 5 numbers in my list, and if now I try adding something to this list, first of all, if I try printing my list, fine, what if I try printing it? What would I get? I would get my complete list, correct? Also, what if I want to add something new to this list? What would I use? So I would use append function. Fine. There is one insert function as well. You can use that as well. So Shashank, you've been helped with this series. Narmada, I can assure you this will help you. Don't worry. Fine, this will help you in placements. Now, what I'll do is I'll go ahead, I'll add a new element using this append function. So when I write this dot append, I'm actually trying to add a new element at the end of this list. Fine. So what if I add 10? So this is a new value and that I'll have at my end. Fine. So let's go ahead and let's print my list again here. Fine. So I'll print it 2 times. I'll print it once here and I'll print it once here. Fine. So we'll have a stark difference. See, initially it was 3 4 5 6 7, then it was 3 4 5 6 7 10, and now I want to take this particular element out, which is this 5. Fine. So I don't want this 5 in my list. So what I'll do, I'll say element, let's just name it element, that I want to remove. So what does this pop function do? It removes, fine, and first of all it removes that element from the list. So when it is removing it from a list, you need to store it somewhere. You need to store it into a variable, fine, and it returns the element that you're actually trying to pull out. Fine. Append for addition, correct. What is the difference between append and addition? Quite the same. For placements, do not dive much into it, because in placements append and insert are generally compared. I am teaching very specific to placements में, और कोई extra basics या बहुत ज़्यादा advanced depth में नहीं जा रहा हूँ. I'll be sticking to your placement. Fine. Exactly. Sonali, you're correct. We have to mention index number for a particular element of list. So when you're using the pop function, then also what you'll do is, when you do this, for example, my list dot pop, fine. So what would this particular function do? This would actually pop out this last element. Fine. This would actually pop out the last element. Whenever you use simply pop, it pops out the last element. I cannot virtually plug out the 5. I can use it using the indexing. That is a separate discussion which we can have on another day. But right now, if I use the standard pop function, because I'm trying to teach you the standard functions of the list, here if I want to remove any element, I keep on using the standard pop, I'll have to do it 3 times before actually pulling out 5, and for the 4th time when I'll pull it, I would get 5. Fine. So my list dot pop, if I do it and if I print the element, what would I get? See, I'll get 10. But what if I do this? I actually use this statement thrice, and then for the 4th time I do this. Now what would I get? I would get 5. See, you get it? So it basically removed all the 3 elements which were at the last position when you found that after these 3 pops. Let's see how your list looks. Fine. So your list would have only 3 elements after this, which are 3 4 and 5. So if I print your list again here, you would have 3 4 and 5. You see that? And then it pulled out the last element again here. Is it clear? Is it clear to everybody? फटाफट बताओ, is it clear to everybody? Now in this element, if I try storing, I update the value of it. Great, it is clear to Shashank as well. Great Shashank. Now what if I try pulling out one particular element? So let's not do this. Fine, let's keep the list same. So it would return 10 here. The list has been changed. Then from this list, I try pulling out a specific number which is at the position 2. Fine. So let's check what does it return me. See, oh, I didn't print it out. Wait, I'll print it. So after this, once you've tried printing a list, here I need not to print the list. What are you actually doing in this? Let's check. So you appended 10 first, you got this list. Fine. Now Do not look here. Look here what I'm teaching in this black code piece. Fine. So once you print the list after this, you will have this particular list. Now you have indexes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After these indexing, what would happen? If I try pulling out using pop, fine, if I try pulling out an element from pop, I would get the last element. But what if I want a specific element? I want to know at the index 2, what element do I have? So 0, 1, 2. At the index 2, you have 5. Fine. Once it is pulled, even if the 10 is gone, still at the second index, you'll have 5. Fine. So I'll check it out. Let's check. You're getting 5. Fine. Now, what if I tell you that 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5? At the index 5, you had 10 earlier, correct? So I'll use 5 here. And if you see, it will throw an error because 5 index won't exist after this pop. So I'll run the code and see list index out of range. What if I add a new number using the insert function? Fine, I add a new element at the index 5 of this particular list. Fine. So I'll go ahead, I'll insert a specific function, specific number in this my list. So at a specific position, for example 5 was that specific position at which I wanted a number, and at that I want a number 16. Fine. So let's see if I get it. So if you see, the object is not callable. Why? Here you actually need to pass a string. Once you pass a string, it would automatically store it at index 5. Fine. Let's see whether it is storing it or not. So it's still saying the object is not callable because if I am not wrong, it is not having the index 5 yet. Wait. And I'll change this index of this my list. So let's check this out. Still it is saying not callable. Why so? Oh, pardon, I have not used insert function. My god, how could I commit such blunder? Fine. So I have not used insert function here. I'll use it. Fine, don't worry. So a lot of, how can I take list from the user? Typecasting would be needed. People are guessing. Come on guys, don't guess. Fine. So let's try it again. I had not used this insert function. Fine. So all I need to do is I need to use dot insert, and now see, automatically it transformed 16. No, I don't want to search 16. I'll come back here. See, what actually I was doing was I didn't add this insert. So pardon me for being lazy. I've told you enough times I've been lazy, and all these mistakes that we are committing in real time, this would actually be a wake-up call for all of you in your placement tests. Now see carefully. My list dot insert I used at a specific index 5. I put this 16. Now if I tell you, if I print your list here, my list was a list, fine. If I print this list, if you carefully see, initially you had this list 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, fine, here. Then you had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 when you appended 10. Then I removed 10 and you got this list 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, where 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. These were the indexes. I appended one more element using the insert function. I basically inserted it at a specific index, which was 5. And when I inserted it, the next index after 7, I got this element. But what if I tell you that if I print the list again, what would I get? See, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 16. Correct? Is everybody fine with this? So you want it at index 4. Let's change it at index 4. Let's check what do we get after this. So we'll change it at index 4 and you see everything is changed. If you see carefully, the 7 has been pushed to index 5 and at index 4, 16 has been inserted. Is it clear? Sonali, is it clear? Is it clear to you? Harshita, we'll talk about this. We'll talk about this in the upcoming lectures because today the time has Exactly on. Yes, it's crystal clear. Thanks a lot. No issues, no issues. I'll keep on clearing such doubts. And this is pretty much for today because I had one more thing, which was tuples. But before that, let's check the length of this list. This is another function that you can use, length, and my list, and I would give a variable called length, which would store the value, and I'll print the length of it. So what is the length of your list? So see, it is 6, you have 6 elements here and it is printing 6 correctly. This is one more function and this can be used. I am really happy that some of the students are so consistent, be it Genial, be it Sonali, be it Bhimesh, Shashank, be it Teja, be it Komal. I have good people. I have Harsh, I have Harshita, who are actually decent students who are regular in the class. Keep yourself regular. And that's what I would always tell you. Whatever you learn here, go ahead, spread it out amongst the masses. Teach other people, be it your juniors, your seniors, anybody in your class, go ahead, teach it out, because this particular thing would help you people, would help others, and keep doing good for others. As I always say, good will come back to you. So that's pretty much for today. We'll go ahead, we'll learn a lot of things tomorrow. And if there is no session tomorrow on this particular Python, fine. If there is no session on the Python for placements, then there would be something very big, and I really want that tomorrow's session should be on that big thing. We are planning something very, very rigorous, very, very important. And those who were asking that in 1 month can I prepare for it, sir, we are actually working on that. We are trying to figure out some plan where you can actually prepare in 1 month and be ready within 1 or 2 months or 3 months at max. We're trying and figuring out various things, and it will come out in front of you. So with that, on that note, I'll tell you, if you want to DM me anything, if you want to DM me your number and you want to talk to my mentors, you can straight away DM me on Instagram. You can DM your queries, you can DM if you want these notes. And what I'll do is I'll keep these annotations. So these annotations are there now, fine, and I'll save it in front of you so that you guys are happy with it. And I'll email to myself as well. I'll email this to myself. Along with this, this is top 150 not out. We have talked a lot about this. You can go ahead and visit this page, and we'll talk about other things as well. So time is enough for today. I'll stop streaming here. To all of you, have a wonderful day ahead. Keep doing good. Just keep helping people. Fine. That's all. Have a wonderful day ahead. Bye bye.